Hear me?
All power to the people.
All power to the people. Hope everybody's doing well today, man. We got a great show today. Welcome to the Hasan Shakur Education Course, Week 10. Each week, students will be assigned readings and videos to study and will convene each week to discuss the material, interpret and break down core concepts, questions and answers, and to prepare for next week's study material. Remember, taking notes can be really beneficial, even audio ones. Don't be afraid to ask for help. We are all in this together. Each week, you're encouraged to bring the following: quotes from the material, questions you have, your interpretation of the material, core concepts, and revolutionary spirit, the most important one.
The stream is weird.
The streaming is weird?
It's backwards. Like
on what?
Image.
Oh, we'll work it out. Comrades, our study this week will focus on the formation of the Second Rainbow Coalition, assassination of Fred Hampton, COINTELPRO tactics used against the Panthers. We'll be discussing the Hasan Shakur and talking about what? Yeah, talking about what, patients? And this is a video of Chairman Shakur Zulu. It's going to be like a brief 2-minute video about the Second Rainbow Coalition.
The people.
All power to the people.
All power to the people.
So today is the second
Is it low?
Rainbow Coalition in history. I know this may surprise a lot.
Pretty good, comrade.
Oh, you can hear it?
But the first time this happened,
We can hear it good.
April 4th, 1969, under the leadership of Chairman Fred Hampton and the Illinois Deputy Chairman. Today,
Hey, turn the volume up.
Yeah, patients,
not
turn the volume up.
example of building base areas. And
Start it over, comrade.
I will. Let me turn the volume up first.
The people.
All power to the people.
How about that?
All power to the people.
So today is the second
Everybody hear that?
Rainbow Coalition in history.
Yes, I can hear it.
Students of revolutionary history. But the first time this happened was April 4th, 1969, under the leadership of Chairman Fred Hampton and the Illinois Deputy Chairman. Today, we're trying to resuscitate that example, not the organization, the example of building base areas in the brown community, the white community, and the black community, because we think that is the best way to leverage collective power against capitalism and imperialism. Its primary function has been since its inception, divide and conquer. And we recognize that. So if that is their method of operation, then it behooves us as revolutionaries to offset that by coming together. We're not doing it because it feels good. You know, all of us, our lives can be taken away from us tomorrow. So we don't take this for granted. This is a job that we embrace, but we embrace it because we know original Black Panthers and original Young Lords laid down their lives to eradicate the filth of oppression and exploitation in our community. So my name is Shakur Zulu. I'm the chairman of the New African Black Panther Party, and we're going to open this up to Rainbow Coalition talks. We have our elder Panthers here. We have our elder Young Lord here, who are going to advise us when needed. You know, sometimes us young people get impetuous, think we know everything, but these brothers put their lives on the line for this. And so it's their feet that we're standing in, or their shoes that we're standing in, I should say. So all power to the people, brothers and sisters.
All power to the people.
I'm going to flip it over to our Minister of Culture, Kwame Shakur. He's gonna talk a little bit about the Rainbow Coalition.
All power to the people. Now, I just wanted to play that little brief video to tell you what the Rainbow Coalition is about, to give you a little snippet of what the Rainbow Coalition is about. I'm about to read a few slides, then we're gonna go into a few other things, excuse me, about what the Rainbow Coalition is really about. This is the statement of unity for the Second Rainbow Coalition. This is basically, a chairman, what would you say this is basically? Like, this is basically the what?
The mission statement.
Mission, all power. This is basically the mission statement of the new Rainbow Coalition. The U.S. was founded as a colonial settler state based upon white supremacy and slavery, stealing the lands of the indigenous nations, breaking every treaty made with them, and confining them to reservations, in quotations, concentration camps. As the country became more powerful, the eagle sunk its claws into other nations, making war on Mexico and grabbing its northern territory, invading Cuba, Puerto Rico, Hawaii, the Philippines, and either annexing them outright or making them colonies or neo-colonies. In the 20th century, it became the major imperialist power in the world, exploiting both the people within its boundaries and those in every other country, bullying them with military interventions and robbing them of their right to self-determination. As UP Newark stated, in quotation, we have two enemies to fight, racism and capitalism, end of quotation. Between the two, capitalism is primary. Racism is a byproduct of capitalism. We'll get into that in a little bit. I was about to give you, but we'll get into that in a little bit. The working people of the world of every ethnicity or nationality face a common enemy that is destroying life on Earth. Our enemy is a small ruling class of property owners controlling most of the world's wealth and resources. We must have our basic needs met to live a good and meaningful life. Food, shelter, healthcare, education, freedom from oppression by the state, and peace with other nations. To obtain these essential things for life, we must have the power to see. Let me remove this off the screen real quick. Nope, I don't have it yet. I got it now, but it went. That's okay, we got it. We'll work this out. Let me finish reading this. We must have our basic needs met to live a good and meaningful life. Food, shelter, healthcare, education, freedom from oppression by the state, and peace with other nations. To obtain these essential things for life, we must have the power to see it that the abundance that is available is shared equitably. Statement of unity for the Second Rainbow Coalition. The legacy of the First Rainbow Coalition dates back to its founding on April 4th, 1969, by the original Black Panther Party, original Young Lords, and Young Patriots organization. A number of other organizations joined this coalition to not too long afterwards, such as the American Indian Movement, Brown Berets, Raising Up Angry, the Red Guards, and others. Since the founding of the United States, the masses had developed a number of popular movements that came together to fight back against the capitalist imperialist system in various ways around particular demands. Nevertheless, none had established a movement quite like the First Rainbow Coalition. The historic movement was the first of its kind that established a model of class struggle like no other. Like when you hear about Obama, change we can all believe in, bringing all the different people, all the different classes together to win this election. When you hear about Jesse Jackson's Rainbow Coalition, all those people stole those ideas from the original Rainbow Coalition. The idea of bringing people from all class lines to join together to liberate themselves. They stole all of that idea from the Rainbow Coalition, and they now use it. They've co-opted now for electoral politics gains. Its charismatic leader, Chairman Fred Hampton of the Illinois chapter of the original Black Panther Party, stated that at the end of the day, we weren't engaged in a race struggle. He said that it's a class struggle, goddammit. By uniting with the various oppressed ethnicities and masses, they were able to bridge the gap between the various ethnic communities that white supremacy had long sought to keep divided. This class solidarity equipped them with the material basis and class consciousness to see their common class condition, therefore the necessity to form a united front against their common class oppressor, the capitalist imperialist ruling class. Like you see it there, like it's this every week we're hearing this, we're hearing who our enemy is. You know, we are hearing that it is not you and I, it is not us, it is not your gender, it is not your race, it is none of those things that they use to distract us. It's what our problem is. Our problem is the capitalist imperialist ruling class. It's really that short. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's nothing need to be added to it. Like my daughter said the other day, period. Like that's it. You just put a period at it. The capitalist imperialist ruling class. That is who we fight against. Whether they're kicking you out because you can't pay rent, you can't afford the rent, that they're jacking up because they want to displace you and bringing somebody else, bringing another class of people. At the end of the day, your issue with your boss, with whoever you're dealing with, the person that control your life, from when you wake up in the morning till you go to sleep, you're working on that plantation, picking cotton for them, then you go home and spend like an hour with your children, with your family, and then go to sleep and start that thing all over again. That is who the enemy is. The people that have decided to construct a society in that manner. That's who we are fighting against. The ruling class viewed this as the greatest threat to their class rule. Yeah, the same people that we say we fighting against, your bosses, all of these people. They find us all coming together to work together to find ways for us to live. They find that problematic because how they gonna have you in the cotton field if you over here mixing with other people trying to find ways to liberate yourself? You're not gonna be on their plantation. So they'll do whatever they can by whatever means, whatever savagery means to keep you on that plantation, and subsequently use the entire all power, and subsequently use the entire repressive forces of the state. Listen to this, of the state, the police, the courts, the jails, the prisons, and intelligence agencies, etc. These are all the things they're going to use to put their boot on your neck to make sure you stay on that plantation. In order to crush this emerging revolutionary socialist movement, to crush us coming together to liberate ourselves. We refounded the Rainbow Coalition on May 14, 2021, with the intent of upholding the legacy of the original Rainbow Coalition. The legacy of all of us working together, not fighting each other, not thinking we are each other's enemy, to find a way to be able to sustain ourselves. I mean, like, that's what we came together to put together, to have here for us to be able to work with each other. We believe that this historic example is a model for the united front that will best serve our class liberation. Yo, anybody's welcome to come up with your own ideas. But even I believe this is the best way forward for us to come together and fight together. By upholding the 10-point program of the original Black Panther Party, which was subsequently adopted and later expanded by the original Young Lords, Young Patriot Organization, and all other original Rainbow Coalition members, we established our programming, oh my God. Yo, I'm telling you, this African tongue is real. I don't want to start biting my tongue. Programmatic unity. The 6 disciplinary rules that we uphold ties all organizations in our coalition to a common professional discipline. We'll be going over this 6 disciplinary rules shortly. But look, Patience, I forgot to put on here. I forgot to put on the 10-point program. I mean, by upholding the 10-point program of the original Black Panther Party. Hey, Chairman Zulu, you want to drop them real quick? Don't make it long. I wanted to put a slide in here, but you did, Chairman?
All power to the people.
Drop
So
it
the
real
first
quick.
point, all power to the people. So the first point is we want power. We want the ability to determine the political destiny of our community. Point number 2 is we want an immediate end to the robbery of our community. Point number 3, we want businesses. Excuse me, I apologize. Point number 4 is we want decent housing fit for the shelter of human beings. Point number 5 is we want immediate housing. Excuse, I'm messing up. You put me on the spot, Conrad, because I was.
That's my bad, Chairman. My
Yeah,
bad.
you told me to stop right there. But let me just pull it up and I'll go through it. I apologize to the other comrades.
No, you good. My bad, Chairman. Nah, but I should have put the slide in there. I should have had the slide in to let us, yeah, point it in real quick. All power. Chairman went through a few of them already. I mean, but number one, right, you see it under the 10-point program, the original Black Panther Party. We want freedom. We want power to determine the destiny of our Black community. I'm gonna go through it real quick. Number two, we want full employment of our people. Number three, we want an end to the robbery by capitalists of our Black community. Number four, we want decent housing fit for the shelter of human beings. Number five, we want education for our people that exposes the true nature of this decadent American society. Number six, we want Black men to be exempt from military service. We want everybody to be exempt. Number seven, we want an immediate end to police brutality and the murder of Black people. Number eight, we want freedom for all Black men held in federal, state, county, and city prisons. Number nine, we want all Black people when brought to trial to be tried by their jury. Number 10, we want land, bread, housing, education, clothing, justice, and peace when the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with one another. But basically, like, you heard what the 10-point program is. This is the things that we want. None of this stuff is crazy. Nothing here say pick up weapons and go fight the government. At the end of the day, if the government is not able to provide these things, because we are paying taxes into it. Part of the social construct is we all go on this plantation and they take money out of our checks each week, bi-weekly, to put into a big pot. I mean, so they're taking money from us and they're not, taxes without representation, and they're not representing us. If they're not going to represent us, then we're supposed to form collectives, the mass line like we're doing now to be able to take care of ourselves. I mean, but basically that's how simple it is. So after this video, when we post it, go back on the video, go read all of this, and then go through the 10-point program and see what in there you have a problem with. Because this is the foundation, the root to everything that we believe in, everything that we do, the basic needs for every human being on this planet. History has bestowed upon our generation a common class mission to fulfill. The representatives of the capitalist imperialist ruling class, represented by the Democratic Party and Republican Party, cannot liberate us. You heard that? I'm gonna read it again if you ain't hear it. This is for the people in the back. The representatives of the capitalist imperialist ruling class, represented by the Democratic Party and Republican Party, cannot liberate us. Biden or Trump can't liberate us. DeSantis, what's the woman's name that they're talking about? Williamson, what's, I think RFK's great-grandson or somebody like that is running too. They can't liberate us. The only way we liberate ourselves is by coming together intercommunally to work with each other to find ways to liberate ourselves. It is their class intention and interest to uphold our common class oppression. Therefore, it is only we, the oppressed masses of all ethnicities and nationalities, who must build the necessary class solidarity, class consciousness, organizational structures, and united front that will ultimately liberate ourselves. Hey, yo, when the weather flipped just now, I've been sick for the last couple of days. It's going away now. But like this cough is still here. Excuse me, y'all. This is what the Second Rainbow Coalition is committed to. This is the historic mission we intend to fulfill. Dare to struggle, dare to win. All power to the people. Boots on the ground. These are some of the members of the Rainbow Coalition. There's quite a few people. New African Black Panther Party, American Indian Movement, Indiana, Kentucky, New Era Young Lords, White Panther Party, Green Party of New Jersey, Poor People's Army, La Mesa National de Brown Beret, Fury, Feminist Uprising to Resist Inequality and Exploitation, Guardian Rebellion. You can see me, Sway? That's crazy. Yeah, I feel hot too. 6 disciplinary rules. Members will conduct themselves in a manner to bring credit to the coalition and will treat others with respect and politeness. Members will be sober when on Rainbow Coalition business and will not engage in any criminal activity while a member. Everything you do comes back on us. Whatever they're looking for excuses to try to disband, to try to shine a light or bad light on what we're doing. No member will engage in violence except in extremity of self-defense. Members will not gossip nor be divisive to the unity of the Sacred Rainbow Coalition. That's why we read that red book, to understand what you're supposed to do when you're in groups like this. Members will not act as if members will not act as informers nor work against the purpose of the Second Rainbow Coalition. No snitches. Nobody is authorized to speak for the Second Rainbow Coalition unless authorized to. Word.
Hey, Comrade, can you go back to that screen real quick? I was just recording the notes on that still.
You got
My
that?
bad. I'm on number 4.
You good. Members will not gossip nor be divisive to the unity of Second Rainbow Coalition. Number 5, members will not act as informers nor work against the purpose of the Second Rainbow Coalition. Number 6, nobody is authorized to speak for the Second Rainbow Coalition unless authorized to do so. Tell me when you're ready, comrade.
On number 5 right now. Sorry, I'm just
Take your time.
typing as best as I can.
Take your time. Take your time. I had to get a drink of water anyway. You saved me. You get that for me, B? Mama, come get that for me.
These rules could be said to Captain Africa.
You say
All
what?
right, I'm good.
You good, comrade? Because I can see you the rules.
Oh,
6
okay.
rules.
Yeah, if you want to send me that whenever you can, I'd greatly appreciate that. Just trying to take as many notes as possible.
All right, we got you. All proud to the people.
Hey, yo, one of the comrades went to Puerto Rico. Yeah, are you here? You here, Comrade Turo? You're probably not here yet. But look, one of the comrades went out to Puerto Rico, and this is some of the stuff. All power.
I'm here.
Hey, so I'm gonna show this video real quick, comrade, and then you could just tell us a little bit about what you went out there and what y'all did. You heard me, comrade?
All power.
All power.
Everybody, real quick. So these are some of the donations we were able to bring that we collected the last couple of months. Wipies, women's hygiene, school supplies, Pampers, more Pampers, more Pampers. And like I said, we're here in Louisa at the Cultural Center. Give you a little rat right now. Hold on. Main entrance. There we go.
All power to the people. Hey, we're talking about Rainbow Coalition, building intercommunalism, working with each other in this organizations to help liberate ourselves. The comrade went to Puerto Rico last week. Yo, I was trying to hit him. I was hitting him on Facebook, trying to set up some texts, but I understand the comrade was busy out there. Because what I really wanted to do, I wanted to interview him, to put it on my TikTok, to put on my Instagram page, to try to get the word out as much as we can. Because yo, look, it's people out there that really want to do good, that this life, this world is crushing, that they have their boot on their neck and they wake up every day thinking like, how do I get up from under this? And they don't understand, they don't know there's people out there like Comrade Turo that's out there doing the work, the young lords that are out there doing the work. They don't know about the Panthers out there doing the work, the Brown Berets. They don't know about all these different people. because they're not gonna put us on CNN, MSNBC, or how most people get their news or what they think is news. So I was trying to hit my man Tura up. I kept trying to find him to get him on here. So I hit Chairman up, and I told Chairman, look, we need to get in touch with him because I need to get the word out on what he's doing out there. So the Chairman hit him, and Comrade Turo is here. Yo, Turo, go ahead, man. Give us a little bit of what happened out there.
Real quick, this is actually Ian. I'm actually the Minister of Defense. Chairman Subi is actually still getting settled in from the trip. He was one of the last people to leave the island. We actually hooked up with a organization called Lifting Puerto Rico, and that came through our chapter in Ohio. Our National Minister of Education helps spearhead that program. So not only did you have young lords out there on the ground, we also had students from Cleveland, Ohio out there putting in work as well. So we had a GoFundMe page out there to collect monetary donations to help fund what we were doing out there. You know, as you guys know, this is all grassroots for us too. So there's no grants. The only money that came from the outside source was for the kids, because the kids were not allowed to stay in any Airbnbs and stuff. We had to make sure that it abide by whatever rules the school needed for us to be able to have the kids out there to have that experience. It was an amazing experience. Most people don't get to see, what happens down the road after, a horrible, catastrophe like the last two hurricanes and the earthquakes and everything that's happened, not to mention the gentrification that continues to go on the island. So for us to go down there and take the donations that we had.
Pause for a second. It was like you just said that, I never even thought about that. That there's gentrification going on out there. Because we think about the gentrification in the hood right here. But real rap, that never even crossed my mind.
Yeah, it's real. I mean, the tax breaks that are going on for the people, out here that are moving out there to buy up land that was, left behind by the people that had to leave because of the earthquake is crazy. People are buying up property, fixing it up. The first night I was there, not all the members were there yet, so I had to, find a different spot to stay. So I found a B&B somewhere close by, and it was me and two other members, and we got there, and we're driving down the street, and the neighborhood, was in ruins still for the most part. It seemed barely livable, and out of nowhere comes this immaculate building, painted up, clean. The electrical was, you could tell the fixtures going from the poles was brand new. Everything was brand new. We walk in there and none of this fit the neighborhood around it. Across the street was a condemned building. It was 3 floors high, and about 2 o'clock in the morning, I go out to the bathroom, and I hear this noise, and I'm like, oh my goodness. The building across the street had been filled with roosters. They build chicken coops on every floor and filled it up with roosters. And when I got up in the morning, because the noise doesn't bother me, that noise is still like music to my ears. But when I got up in the morning and the roosters were still crowing, and we had looked at the Airbnb, and the only comments they had was people like, yo, the noise is crazy. There's these roosters. And at that point, I just got so proud. I was so proud of the people on the island, using the only resource they had to fight back.
Wow.
And I'm like, they filled that building full of roosters, and they had somebody staying in there all night long, making sure they didn't stop. Those roosters crowed from 2 o'clock in the morning to 11 o'clock in the afternoon. And I just sat there, I threw my fist in the air, and I was proud, because it was one of the best feelings I had to know that, like, we may not have a lot of resources out there to stop what they're doing on the island, but they doing what they got to do. So, on top of that, us being able to go out there and being received from the community, and be able to do something that the Young Lords weren't able to do in the past. Young Lords try to build chapters out in Puerto Rico multiple times and weren't successful. And part of that's because I think we learned from their mistake is we can't push our ideology on them. We need to find out from the community and the people that live there what they need, what's best for them, and support them. You know, I don't live on the island, but I can vote here, and the things I can do here on the island can affect them. But I need to know that that's what they want. So no matter how I feel about what they should be independent, sovereign nation, state, whatever, I need to make sure that our people have what they want. So you know, Chairman Subi is you know, big on that as well. So for us to be out there, not only trying to give back to the communities, but talk to the people and really find out, you know, where they stand on the situation that's going on the island was amazing. You know, we helped renovate a retirement center. The clip of that you showed earlier, that was from an orphanage. There was also a rec center that we were at. We already got plans. The next trip is October. People are already starting to fundraise. You'll start to see more stuff getting dropped. Chairman Subi's going to be out there for a month.
Oh,
You
he's
know,
still
Chairman
out there?
Subi's going. He's just got back. He just got back. He's been back for like 2 days, but he's going out there for a month this next time. I'll probably be out there for about a week and a half myself. But you know, we making plans to do some other stuff. You know, looking to find ways to help people either renovate the properties that they have that they're trying to still make livable, or help get people donations and money to buy back the property that was stolen from them because they had to leave the island because, you know, the devastation of the last 2 hurricanes and the earthquakes. And you know, they've lost their beaches. You got hotels that are moving in on the coastline, and all the beaches in Puerto Rico are public, but they put a hotel on the coastline, and now they fence off the entrances to the beaches, and now they calling the beaches private.
Wow.
You know, so it's amazing what they're doing. Like you could tell when you go through certain neighborhoods, you could tell who owns it. You could tell somebody from the island that owns it, and you could tell somebody that came in and is capitalizing on these people, you know, and their situation that they're going through. And you know, we want to go out there and see what we can do to reverse that before it's too late. You know, because it is a small island, and Puerto Rico is got no public transportation, is very limited. I won't say none, but it's very limited. They have more cars than people on the island. And the roads are, you know, filled with potholes. You got roads that are the width of 1 car, and those are 2-way roads. And you know, they're trying to turn it into a resort island to capitalize on you know, tourism. Easter Sunday, the whole island is shut down. I decided to go into San Juan to just to take in some of the sights and some of the culture without being bothered. And then I looked around and San Juan was packed. And then I realized the cruise ships are still coming in. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, all the businesses that I had seen from the last time I went there, if they were still there, they were different. And you could tell that the ownership had changed hands. And for the places that didn't have businesses in there, now they had the commercial stuff. You had a Wendy's, you had a Burger King, you had a Marshall's, you had all that stuff in the downtown, a historic area that's now completely, you know, gentrified to just deal with the tourism. And the people aren't even getting the opportunity to take advantage of that money coming in. You've got other people that have bought out these businesses and are now taking advantage of the people and the tourism.
All power to the people. Hey, look, the reason why I wanted to show this clip is I'm about to go into Fred Hampton, the assassination of Fred Hampton. And people really need to understand the reason why the feds, the government targeted Fred Hampton wasn't because he was a thug, he was an armed terrorist, he was any of that. It was because of the work that the young laws is doing right now in Puerto Rico, because of looking out for the people, for working with the people. This is why the government came after the Panthers, came after the young laws, or come after any organization. I see, Tom, you got your hand up, and Corey, whatever statement that you're about to make, you'll tie that in with Fred Hampton, because after you two speak, I'm about to go to the assassination of Fred Hampton. Hey, yo, all power to the people on Minister of Defense. What's your name again, comrade?
Ian.
Yo, Ian, man, we gotta become friends, man. We gotta talk more, Ian. It's like when you go
Absolutely.
back out, yo, when you go back out there, I'm sure the Rainbow Coalition want to have something to do with it. I'm sure the new African Black Panther Party want to be able to have something to do with it. Because that's why we here, Ian. I mean, so like when you going back out there, make sure you keep us informed. Hey, Tom, what you got for me, Tom? I think you on silent, Tom. We can't hear you, Tom. Tom, we can't hear you. You on mute. There we go. You got it.
Okay, you hear me now?
I hear you.
Yeah, I just gotta say, strategically, we're gonna see a lot of investment moving to Puerto Rico because of the rising sea level on the East Coast. That a lot of resorts are gonna pack up and move, and it's really sad to hear about Old Town in San Juan, because I was there in the 80s. It was really beautiful. Everything had been, themed with, historic Spanish, architecture and everything. And to see McDonald's and stuff there break my heart.
All power. Corey, you got something, Corey?
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to draw the comparison here in regards of how how they're trying to turn Puerto Rico into like a tourist resort island and gentrify the place. I was gonna mention here, is that not like the exact same thing that the U.S. was doing with Cuba in the 20th century before the communist revolution that happened there too? Like you can kind of draw the comparisons between the two, and it just goes to show that this is never the first time at all regarding that.
All power, comrade, all power. I was thinking the same thing too. They're doing the same thing in Jamaica. Like people are crying in Jamaica too because they can't go on the beach no more. I think I saw something with Bob Marley's son saying that the people should be allowed on the beach. But I think he's one of the imperialists too. But I'm about to show the assassination of Fred Hampton. It's a video. I'm not reading slides, so we're gonna hear from a journalist, and he's gonna tell you about the work that they did to uncover who killed Fred Hampton. And at the end of the day, you're gonna hear them saying it on the video. You're gonna hear the journalist saying it, that they killed Fred Hampton because of doing this work. This is the real work. This is liberation. This is the work of liberation, being with the people, being able, look, the comrade left his family, left his job, they leave everything to travel down to the island to try to meet the needs of the people. That is liberation. I mean, you could go bomb whatever stores, you could go shoot up whatever store, do whatever you want to do out there. But at the end of the day, that is just reactionary. You're not helping the people. Those people are still going to be starving all around the world. People program, serving the people, being with the people, understanding their condition, and then finding ways to help them liberate themselves. That's liberation. That's revolution. I mean, but I'm about to go into the assassination, and they're going to say mostly the same thing.
All power, Captain. I just want to say something real quick. I'm sorry. I jumped on just so you could have some representation and let you guys know from firsthand what we did on the island. I have to get off this real quick. Alyssa's on here. If you got any other questions from the young lords, she's our go-to here. I love all y'all. Listen, like I said, we still fundraising for the next trip. Anybody that wants to get in touch with me, you can ask Alyssa. She'll hook you up with some sort of contact with myself. And we could talk and see what we can do and move forward and make this a coalition effort as well as a young lord effort, and do what we got to do to make the change.
All power, all power. Listen, you
all
there?
Power.
Yes, I am.
All power. Hey, look, even if I forget to say something, yo, man, bring me back again. Because I want you to give the information where people can send donations and how we're going to get this thing working. So please, if I forget to say something, yo, bring it back up. Just put your hand up. When I see your name, I'm going to remember. Hey, thanks a lot, Minister, for coming through, Minister. All power.
Okay.
All power.
And it talked about
disrupting, destroying, and neutralizing the Panthers by any means necessary. And one of their objectives was prevent the rise of a Messiah who could unify and electrify the black masses. Fred Hampton, at 21, was a tremendously charismatic and powerful figure in Chicago. He could talk to welfare mothers, gang kids, and he could talk to law students and college students. He had the ability to pull people together. You got a little glimpse of that in what the clip that you saw. But he made people believe in themselves. He made people feel powerful and that they could bring about change. And that was his real threat. And so we knew there was this program to prevent the rise of a Messiah. We knew about the floor plan. Then we uncovered a document that they gave the informant a bonus after the raid because his information was invaluable to the success of the raid. So internally, the FBI actually took credit for this raid for the results that Fred Hampton and Mark Clark were killed.
Talk about Willie O'Neill.
William O'Neill was he was uncovered because he became a witness in another case. And I guess we all knew William O'Neill. He was a very flamboyant person, and I guess my idea of an informant was somebody who sits quietly in the corner and takes mental notes. That was not William O'Neill. He was a provocateur. He built an electric chair that was supposedly to threaten potential informants in the party when he was an informant. He attempted to build what he called a rocket that would go from the Panther office to City Hall until Fred Hampton...
Explain his position in the Black Panthers.
He was the chief of security, and at one point he was Fred Hampton's bodyguard. And he was present the night of the raid and left. And there was evidence that Fred Hampton was drugged, and he's never admitted it, but some of that evidence suggests that O'Neill was the one who drugged him the night of the raid.
I want to ask, just play for a minute a response, get your response to Cook County State's Attorney Edward Hanrahan. After the raid, he repeatedly claimed the Panthers had opened fire on the police. This is how he described what happened.
The immediate, violent, criminal reaction of the occupants in shooting at announced police officers emphasizes the extreme viciousness of the Black Panther Party. So does their refusal to cease firing at the police officers when urged to do so several times.
That was Ed Hanrahan, the Cook County State's Attorney. Your response to him, and also what happened to Hanrahan as you sought to pursue the truth of the murder of Fred Hampton?
When we gathered the evidence, and you can tell which way a bullet enters from the smaller hole and exits with a larger hole and the wood splayed outward, it became clear that, as I said, 90 shots came in and at most one, a vertical shot, went out. The Panthers were smart enough to invite the community in. The police never sealed it. And the black community, which had been divided on the Panthers, was not divided on the fact that a young man was murdered in his bed, a young leader, at 4:30 in the morning. So there was a tremendous reaction. And Hanrahan became defensive and told the story that you just saw. And later on, he even went further and said, well, Fred Hampton personally was firing at the police. And he gave the Chicago Tribune a photograph. The photograph had 2 black dots on it, and he says, these are the gunshots that Fred Hampton fired. We invited the press out there. It turns out those dots were nail heads. And I think that was the beginning of the end of Edward Hanrahan. He never got elected to anything again. Even a Republican was elected state's attorney of Cook County, which was unheard of. He ran for mayor, he ran for congressman, and basically his political career ended on December 4th, just at the time when he thought it would rise.
I want to talk about the overall context with Jeffrey Haas, but in 1969, you were one of the leaders of the Columbia student protest, one of the founders of the Young Lords. What was the effect 40 years ago today? Where were you on this day?
I remember very well the news coming about Fred Hampton's death. And of course, as you mentioned, his ability to unite people. Very few people are aware that Fred Hampton was the original creator of the concept of the Rainbow Coalition that a young Jesse Jackson then adopted later, because he was building unity between the Black Panthers and the Young Lords and some white radical organizations in Chicago, and he called them the Rainbow Coalition, which is what Jesse then adopted into as his main program. But he had this ability to unite all kinds of different groups, as you say, racial groups, as well as across economic lines. And in terms of the legacy of Hampton, obviously Bobby Rush, who later became a congressman in Chicago, still is a congressman. What has been in Chicago the way that the political establishment has dealt with the reality of this assassination and of the historical impact of Fred Hampton?
Well, I think for one thing, it marked the independence of the black political leaders in Chicago, who had, up until then, had been pretty much lackeys of the mayor and the Democratic machine. And a young state senator named Harold Washington spoke out, and Danny Davis spoke out, and Jesse Jackson welcomed Bobby Rush. And all of a sudden, you had an independent and much more progressive black political machine, or part of the machine that was independent. And I think that group and white liberals were given credit for eventually electing Harold Washington mayor as Chicago's first black mayor. Of course, there's also the legacy that without a young leader, I think the west side of Chicago degenerated a lot into drugs. And without leaders like Fred Hampton, I think the gangs and the drugs became much more prevalent on the west side. He was an alternative to that. He talked about serving the community, talked about breakfast programs, educating the people, community control of police. So I think that's unfortunately another legacy of Fred's murder.
And Jeff House, you talk in the book also about how you, a white radical raised in the South, ended up in Chicago that day as part of the People's Law Clinic there, working with the Panthers. Could you talk about your own trajectory and how you got involved in this story?
Well, I grew up in the South. I came from a progressive family, but also it was a segregated South, and I think being a white person there, we all accommodated ourselves in some way to segregation. I think it made cowards of us all. When I got to Chicago, I was influenced by what was going on nationally. Chicago was sort of the hub of all this political activity. You had the Democratic Convention there. Dr. King had marched there. You had the conspiracy trial starting. You had the National Office of SDS. All the forces were converging, and I was very much moved by the Black Power movement, the Civil Rights movement. So we wanted to be lawyers for the people. We wanted to be, so we started the People's Law Office in a sausage shop. And I think we started it with a sense of collectivity. So it wasn't just me. There were 4 or 5 of us who from the get-go worked together. And our mandate was to expose the murders, who the killers were of Fred Hampton. We did not know that it would take us to J. Edgar Hoover and John Mitchell and the seat of government. But of course, it turned out that way. And the more we dug and the more we uncovered, the more interested we got, and the more we realized that this was a national program. Some people have compared Hanrahan's group to sort of a local hit squad, and ordered, but was utilized by the federal government and by Hoover. And I think, unfortunately, or not surprisingly, no one has ever done a day of time for the murder of Fred Hampton, for that raid. So I think another legacy is to try to hold our government officials accountable. And interestingly enough, when the Church Committee in the 70s began to investigate COINTELPRO as well as Watergate, it was Dick Cheney and Donald Rumsfeld, Ford's chief aides, who opposed any kind of exposure of this illegality or any kind of restraint on the intelligence committees.
We have to leave it there. I want to thank you very much for being with us. Jeffrey Haas, Assassination of Fred Hampton is his book, How the FBI and the Chicago Police Murdered a Black Panther. And that does it for today's program. Democracy Now! Is produced by
FBI goes for COINTELPRO. We should keep our eyes open for these things today. COINTELPRO is alive and well. Just now we just heard the comrades speaking about the work that they were doing in Puerto Rico and that they're going back to do the work. Every time I speak at an event or I come to these spaces where we have revolutionaries in our midst or we have activists, now I always say something. I always say one thing, that I'm happy to be here and that the people that are in this space are my heroes. You see, like most people don't understand, this is what gets you targeted by the government, working for the people. Doing the work of the people is what makes the government come after you, because that is counter to the lies that they tell us, that they told us when we were in school, that they say in the media. Like every time you put the TV on, you put the news on, they're telling you that we live in a democracy. That is a lie. That is a farce. We don't live in a democracy. We live in an oligarchy that is ruled by imperialists. and they oppress us so they don't do no work. So like I said, we get up early in the morning, go to work from sun up to sundown on these plantations. They don't do nothing. They travel the world. They have the best healthcare. They have the best of everything. And to maintain that reality, they must keep their boots on our proverbial necks. Under the director J. Edgar Hoover, the FBI COINTELPRO counterintelligence program was aimed at investigating and disrupting dissident political groups within the United States. In the 1960s, COINTELPRO targets frequently included civil rights activists, both those who espouse nonviolence, like Martin Luther King, and those that Hoover referred to as Black nationalist hate groups, like the Black Panthers. This document outlines the program goals in attempting to limit the effectiveness of such groups. In practice, the FBI used infiltration, legal harassment, defamation, and sometimes extra legal intimidation and violence against King, the Panthers, and other Black activist groups in an attempt to discredit and disrupt them. And you got to remember that, as soon as our coalition, as soon as we start getting some traction and we getting people to look and listen to what we're saying, they're going to come after the chairman. They're going to come after the chairman of every coalition. They're going to come after them. They're going to find ways. They're going to tell me. Like I talk to the chairman every day, Chairman Shakur Zulu. They're going to start texting me from the chairman's number. It's going to look like it's the chairman's number. And they're going to be telling me things that the chairman said is right that I know they're not, that he didn't say. So like when I see the chairman, I had that conversation, I'll show it to him. I'm like, look, man, this is what they're up to. This is how far they will go to disrupt what we're doing. I don't believe nothing anybody tells me about anybody in our coalition unless I hear it first, unless I see it first, unless we have evidence of it. I don't trust nothing they say, nothing their media say, because I know these are the tricks that they're going to use to try to break us up. And you have to remember that. Don't believe anything these people say. For maximum effectiveness of the counterintelligence program and to prevent wasted effort, long-range goals are being set. They're still setting them goals right now. 1, prevent the coalition of militant Black nationalist groups. In unity, there is strength. A truism that is no less valid for all its triteness. An effective coalition of Black nationalist groups might be the first step toward a real Mau Black Revolutionary Army in America, the beginning of a true Black revolution. 2, prevent the rise of a Messiah who could unify and electrify the militant Black nationalist movement. Malcolm X might have been such a Messiah. He is the martyr of the movement today. Martin Luther King, Stokely Carmichael, Elijah Muhammad all aspire to this position. Elijah Muhammad is less of a threat because of his age. King could be very real contender for this position should he abandon his supposed obedience, in quotation, to white liberal doctrines, nonviolence, and embrace Black nationalism. Carmichael has the necessary charisma to be the real threat in this way. That's Stokely Carmichael they're talking about, on Kwame Ture. 3, prevent violence on part of Black nationalist groups. This is primary importance and is, of course, a goal of our investigative activity. It should also be a goal of counterintelligence program to pinpoint potential troublemakers and neutralize them before they exercise their potential for violence. 4, prevent militant Black nationalist groups and leaders from gaining respectability by discrediting them to 3 separate segments of the community. They go right there. They go right there. Discredit them. When you have, like, when you talk to people or you have debates with people about these issues, like the first thing they do is they try to discredit you because they can't argue with you or they can't debate the facts. So the first thing they'll try to find something to discredit you on, or they'll just make something up. They'll just make something up and they start attacking. Like, we need to know all of this because it's going to happen. We're not telling you stuff that they may do. This is in their manual book. This is how the FBI deal with anybody that's going against imperialism. Because the FBI is the FBI, the police, or the alphabet boys, their duty is to protect imperialism. The goal of discrediting Black nationalists must be handled tactically in 3 ways. You must discredit those groups and individuals to first the responsible Negro community. Second, they must be discredited to the white community, both responsible community and to liberals who have vestiges of sympathy for militant Black nationalists, simply because they are Negroes. Third, these groups must be discredited in the eyes of Negro radicals, the followers of the movement. This last area requires entirely different tactic from the first two. Publicity about violent tendencies and radical statements merely enhance Black nationalists to the last group. It adds respectability, in quotation, in a different way. Rashada Shakur, in her own words. This is a video, this is what, 2012, I believe, or 2013. Obama was president. Most of us here were alive for that period. And while Obama was president, the first Black president, the person that came with hope and change, time for everything to change, he employed the same strategy, the same tactics that the FBI been employing since the 60s, the 40s, the 50s. It's what they've always done. I mean, he came, you know what? I'm gonna shut up. Let me let the video speak for itself. One video.
This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman.
And I'm Juan Gonzalez. Welcome to all of our listeners and viewers around the country and around the world. We begin today's show looking at the case of Assata Shakur, a legendary figure within the Black Panther Party and the Black Liberation Army. On Thursday, she became the first woman ever to make the FBI's most wanted terrorist list. In addition, the FBI in the state of New Jersey doubled the reward for her capture to $2 million.
They told you, when I was reading that, they told you it was going to be continual. This is 2013, under President Obama. He put out $2 million rewards to go hunt down Assata Shakur. When the Pope was going out to Cuba around that same time, and when the Pope went out there, Assata wrote a letter to the Pope. You see, like, when we talk about these people, these are real people, like you and I. They're human beings that got tired of the system and they decided to fight back. To fight back with intercommunalism. We're working with people from every class, every race, to fight back against imperialism. Like this ain't made up stuff. This is not stories from Disney. These are real human beings. Comrade Assata is still alive, but I'm gonna let you listen to her own words about what she feels about this system, about this country. Oh, I did not just do that. Patience, I just did something crazy. Go for it. I got it. Getting better.
Shakur was convicted in the May 2nd, 1973 killing of a New Jersey state trooper during a shootout that left one of her fellow activists dead. She was shot twice by police during the incident. In 1979, she managed to escape from jail, and she later fled to Cuba, where she received political asylum. She has long proclaimed her innocence. On Thursday, FBI Special Agent Aaron Ford spoke at a press conference announcing Shakur's placement on the most wanted terrorist list. He refers to Shakur as Joanne Chesimard, her original name.
Openly and freely.
A black guy. A black guy. Look at all those people back there. Look at all those people that support white supremacy and they push the black guy up front. You go out there and go tell the world and tell other black people that we hunting down Assata Shakur. Everything that they do is strategic. Like, if you think they just did this, like they didn't put no thought into what they're doing, like something is wrong with you. You're naive. No, because like they know not. Imagine if all black people got up and they saw the video, you see all white people up there, all white supremacists standing up there, and they're saying they're hunting down Assata Shakur. And without a black president, because what's it called, they didn't do this, George Bush didn't do this, Trump didn't do this. They had to wait till they have a black president. A black president has to come up with whatever. I don't know this guy's title. I don't even care. I don't want to know his name. He's a traitor to our liberation. But they had to push him out there. Look at him. Savage. Yo, John Henry Clark would say he's a traitor to the skin that he wears. But look at him out there. No shame, nothing.
in Cuba, she continues to maintain and promote her terrorist ideology. She provides anti-U.S. government speeches espousing the Black Liberation Army message of revolution and terrorism. No person, no matter what his or her political or moral convictions are, is above the law. Joanne Chesimard is a domestic terrorist who murdered a law enforcement officer, execution style.
That's FBI Special Agent Aaron Ford. In a moment, we'll be joined by two guests, the scholar and activist Angela Davis, who faced her own murder trial decades ago, and Lennox Hines, Assata Shakur's longtime attorney for some 40 years. But first, we turn to Assata Shakur in her own words. In 1998, Democracy Now! Aired her reading an open letter to Pope John Paul II during his trip to Cuba. She wrote the message after New Jersey state troopers sent the Pope a letter asking him to call for her extradition.
My name is Assata Shakur, and I was born and raised in the United States. I am a descendant of Africans who were kidnapped and brought to the Americas as slaves. I spent my early childhood in the racist, segregated South. I later moved to the northern part of the country, where I realized that Black people were equally victimized by racism and oppression. I grew up and became a political activist, participating in student struggles, the anti-war movement, and most of all, in the movement for the liberation of African Americans in the United States. I later joined the Black Panther Party, an organization that was targeted by the COINTELPRO program, a program that was set up by the Federal Bureau of Investigation to eliminate all political opposition to the U.S. government's policies, to destroy the Black liberation movement in the United States, to discredit activists, and to eliminate potential leaders. Under the COINTELPRO program, many political activists were harassed, imprisoned, murdered, or otherwise neutralized. As a result of being targeted by COINTELPRO, I, like many other young people, was faced with the threat of prison, underground, exile, or death. The FBI, with the help of local police agencies, systematically fed false accusations and fake news articles to the press, accusing me and other activists of crimes we did not commit. Although in my case the charges were eventually dropped or I was eventually acquitted, the national and local police agencies created a situation where, based on their false accusations against me, any police officer could shoot me on sight. It was not until the Freedom of Information Act was passed in the mid-'70s that we began to see the scope of the United States government's persecution of political activists. At this point, I think that it is important to make one thing very clear. I have advocated, and I still advocate, revolutionary changes in the structure and in the principles that govern the United States. I advocate self-determination for my people and for all oppressed people inside the United States. I advocate an end to capitalist exploitation, the abolition of racist policies, the eradication of sexism, and the elimination of political repression. If that is a crime, then I am totally guilty. To make a long story short, I was captured in New Jersey in 1973 after being shot with both arms held in the air and then shot again from the back. I was left on the ground to die, and when I did not, I was taken to a local hospital where I was threatened, beaten, and tortured. In 1977, I was convicted in a trial that can only be described as a legal lynching. In 1979, I was able to escape with the aid of some of my fellow comrades. I saw this as a necessary step, not only because I was innocent of the charges against me, but because I knew that the racist legal system in the United States, I would receive no justice. I was also afraid that I would be murdered in prison. I later arrived in Cuba, where I am currently living in exile as a political refugee. The New Jersey State Police and other law enforcement officials say they want to see me brought to justice. But I would like to know what they mean by justice. Is torture justice? I was kept in solitary confinement for more than 2 years, mostly in men's prisons. Is that justice? My lawyers were threatened with imprisonment and imprisoned. Is that justice? I was tried by an all-white jury without even the pretext of impartiality and then sentenced to life in prison plus 33 years. Is that justice? Let me emphasize that justice for me is not the issue I am addressing here. It is justice for my people that is at stake. When my people receive justice, I am sure that I will receive it too.
That is an excerpt of a letter Assata Shakur read, an open letter to Pope John Paul II during his trip to Cuba in 1998. When we come back from break, we'll be joined by Assata Shakur's longtime attorney, Lennox Hines, and the scholar and activist, Angela Davis. Stay with us. Thanks so much for watching.
Hey, look, we have this political education classes to show you what Pantherism is really about, what our philosophy is, and who our enemy is. You know, after watching, this is week 10. After watching all these videos, we reading all these slides, we going through this after all these weeks, it's time for you to understand the judicial system is not our friend. The government is not our friend. These are the people that we must find a way to survive despite of. When we talk about the FBI, we talk about what we're doing here, building the Rainbow Coalition. I don't know if people really understand how serious it is. But this video I'm about to play is the FBI and state police going to the Chairman Shaka Zulu's home after what happened January 6th in DC, which has nothing to do with Pantherism. Yo, we as Panthers, we don't believe power is in those buildings or with those politicians. The power is with who? The people. The people is where the power is. That's why we have survival programs and we try to work in these communities with the people. Yo, I just showed you a video of the young lawyers going down to the PR. You didn't see them going down to the federal building to go speak to politicians. They were with the people. And this is what the government and imperialists despise. This is what they hate. This is what they'll come after you for. But I'm about to show you the video of them coming there. And then I'm gonna let the chairman come on and give us a little synopsis of what happened.
It is, can you say what the day is?
Yeah, January 15th.
January 15th, I have the FBI.
12:30 p.m.
12:30 p.m. My name is Shakur Zulu, the chairman of the New African Black Panther Party. I have the FBI at my residence questioning me today about the events in Washington, D.C., right?
That's right. That's
These
correct,
are so this is the FBI right here. Can you just identify yourself?
I gotta pause it for a second because they're about to say it. Yo, yeah, and I got a good pause. Look at his face. Look at his face. I don't even want to say what he looked like, man. Because I don't want to use profanity on this media because we trying to share these videos out. But that boy face don't look like a vagina. But look, yo, listen, hey, yo, listen, man. They are watching everything we do. They're about to tell you how they saw what the chairman said on social media. And then they came to his home. Like they're watching everything. They're tapping our phones. We are not free. We are under a police state.
One by one.
Yeah. So, okay. So Special Agent Mike Hooper from the FBI. All right, so we're good here. We get that on record and everything like that.
All right,
Look,
just can you introduce yourself?
Detective Sergeant First Class, New Jersey State Police.
Okay.
Detective Sergeant Hugo Rivera, New Jersey State Police.
Okay.
We're good here. All right. All we want.
Hey, yo, but look, I know I keep cutting it off, but you see the strategy the chairman employed? Yo, as soon as you pull out that camera and you put it to their face, yo, they have no other choice but to comply. I mean, he pulled it up right away. If the chairman didn't put this camera up, like I have I have an idea how this could have went. But by putting that video up, by being able to hold him accountable, yo, he diffused the whole situation.
I want to know is that we know back in September you gave a statement on Facebook that got published in the New York Post. It's about 7 guys who identified themselves as the New African Black Panther Party. You said that they don't represent what your group represents, which I completely believe. You called them 7 privileged comrades. Now, what happened down in the Capitol, all right, was a lot of people who are probably along that same line of thinking that infiltrated some of the groups down there and were causing problems.
Well, let me be clear, because I don't want to go long with this. Let me be clear and say that the New African Black Panther Party did not partake in, will not partake in any activities in Washington, D.C. We do not support the Proud Brothers, the reactionary white wings, nor are we a fan of Donald Trump. So I want to be on record. This is the FBI questioning Shaka Zulu. We do not and will not participate in any events down there. And so that's on the record. And I will have to end this conversation here without my lawyer being present.
That's all I want to hear.
That's it, man.
All right?
All right, all power to the people.
Hey, it's nice meeting you. Take care, man.
All right.
Have a great day, all right?
All right.
You too, buddy. All right, Happy New Year again.
Man, shut up. All power. Nah, but like, yo, that's how you deal with these people. You don't become afraid. You don't start shivering and start telling them whatever they want to hear so they can let you live. Nah, you tell them to their face, like, I don't support those people. I don't support what they're doing. I don't support burning down anything. And like, if you got anything to say, go say it to my lawyer. Like, there's nothing to talk about. There's nothing to talk about. Hey, Chairman, you want to tell us a little bit about what they were talking about?
All power to the people. I think that was an interesting time in the development of the New African Black Panther Party. I think we was hit on 2 fronts at the time. We were just coming out of the split with Rashid, and we was dealing with the rebuilding from there. And the FBI, which I don't have on camera because I had to rush to get it on, when they first came to the door, they said to me was, don't worry about it. You good. We know everything that you do, right? And that instantly told me that they were watching and that they were observing. But prior to that, I tried to take a trip to Oakland to speak out there with some of the original Panthers and some of the colleges out there. And I was stopped from getting on that plane because the FBI said I was on the watch list.
Wow.
So when they showed up at the house, I already knew psychologically and politically how to deal with it because I prepared my mind and body in prison. I turned my body into steel and my mind into steel to be cold-hearted when I deal with the enemy power structure. So I know how to deal with that stuff because I studied it when I was locked up. But for them to show up at my residence is only an indication of the work that we was doing. You got to remember, comrade, we started this work in 2019. And so for them to show up a year later or a year and a half later and recognize indirectly our work only proves what Mao Zedong said, that whenever the enemy tries to paint you in a negative light, take that as a badge of honor because you're doing something that they don't like. And so when they split our group, we already knew how to deal with that. When they visited my house, we already knew how to deal with that. Because like I said, in order to be a true, genuine revolutionary, you have to accept everything that comes with that. And I prepared myself for death. I prepared myself for prison. I prepared myself for victory in this revolutionary struggle as well. Because it's not about sacrificing and dying. It's about what Huey P. Newton called living. And so the FBI only made me proud, only made me happy, because I would have never seen the FBI if I was on the street corner slinging drugs, if I was running up in the store and robbing a mom and pop. I would have never seen the FBI. As if I was out there giving orders to street gangs, I would have never seen the FBI. But for them to come to my house, a little poor slave who learned how to read in a prison cell to be visited by the masters of death only means that I'm on the right track. So I want to encourage comrades, don't be afraid, don't quiver, don't surrender, don't give up. When any forces of the enemy state approach you, stay principled, remember your political training, and at the same time, remember that you are part of a collective, and that collective should give you strength. So all power to the people.
And all power to the people. All power to the people, comrade. Oh man, look, like I said, well, we're like, this is not a joke. This is not a game. This is not people going on social media just making posts or putting up Black Lives Matter signs in front of your lawn. You know, this is actual work. This is actual work, man. And this is what really gets you targeted by the state. It is not talking, not yelling, not going out doing destructive behavior. It is using your mind to construct and build institutions to liberate yourself. That's what they fear. That's all they fear. They don't care about your talking. They don't care about none of that stuff you're saying, man. All they fear is you coming together, coming across class line, across race line, across gender line, across all of that, to stand together to find ways to sustain ourselves in our communities. And I'm gonna make sure I told Alyssa I wasn't gonna forget. Now, but we done for this week though. We about to hit the discussion, so put your hands up if you have something to say. But Alyssa, I want you to go first. But please tell us where people can donate to. You there, Alyssa?
Yep, I wrote it in the chat for everybody. I think you should be able to click on the link. There's a GoFundMe. I'll post it again because it's kind of far up. And then I also posted Subi's TikTok because he's on there like every day for the most part, and he's constantly giving the most active updates on that platform.
All power. But this is a video. I'm gonna have this on YouTube. So go ahead, yo, come on camera, yo, tell the world where to go, man. Yo, I want you to say it. I want you to give us his TikTok, everything. Yeah, talk to us. What's his TikTok? What's your TikTok? Where should they send the money to? I know we got the posting. We're gonna put the posting up too. We're gonna cut that and we're gonna put it part of the clip before we edit it, when we edit it to put it on YouTube. But I want to put your video, but I want you to say it. Yo, I want to shine the real superheroes. I don't want us to be hot. Yeah, I don't want us to be hiding. Yo, yeah, you a superhero. Like, look, yeah.
I didn't go this time, but I'm going in October anyway.
But go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, but it's Uplifting Puerto Rico is the GoFundMe. That's what it's called. It's going to be the same, recurring GoFundMe. So anything that you guys have from previous following the NEYL Facebook, the NEYL or Afro Taino is Subi's TikTok name. And like I said, he goes every day. I want to say every day. He does the book reading, and he's constantly like, that's where a lot of the funds came from, to be honest. This round was his TikTok followers.
Oh,
wow. So he's been doing some really good work on there.
All power.
Wait, what's he called?
On that app it is Afro Taino 88, I believe, but I'll put it back in the chat again, and then I'll put it in the general ed chat too if you want.
All power.
Thanks.
All power.
All power. All power to the people.
All
Gotcha.
power. Hey, look, next week we're gonna have this comrade come through, Robert Lee Johnson. Robert Lee Johnson lectures on the subject of local history at colleges, universities, and museums in Southern California. Mr. Johnson is a member of the History Council and chairman of Projects Committee at the California African American Museum, CAM, and the founding member of the Compton 125 Historical Society. He has been featured in documentaries, The Streets of Compton, Compton's Finest, LA Displacement in Utopia, and BBC's The Mysterious Murder of Nipsey Hussle, and was consultant on the award-winning documentary Fire in the Hill. He is the author of the books Compton Images of America and Notable Southern Californians in Black History. He was formerly a leading member of the Compton branch of Black Panther Party and a founding member of Coalition Against Police Abuse, CAPA. Mr. Johnson is currently working on a new book on the history of the Watts Willowbrook district of Los Angeles, California. Next week he's going to be joining us, and he's going to give us some history lessons. And it's beautiful to listen to these original Panthers to tell us from back then and then fast forward to 2023. So he's going to be on next week. I hope everybody pull up to hear him. So I only see two hands up right here. It's only two hands up here.
Yeah, that's what I see so far. I'm trying to copy the link.
All right, no problem.
Rich said that the raffle we did for Chicago was for Puerto Rico.
Oh, that's what Rich said?
Yeah.
Well, Rich, why you ain't come on here and say it? Go ahead and say it on here, Rich. The raffle we did in Rich, you did, Rich?
Oh, I was just refreshing your memory. And we had did the raffle, and that little kid picked the raffle ticket for his dad. I think he cheated.
Oh, yeah, I remember. Hey, but hold up, pause. Hey, Rich, yo, look, bro, you a handsome fellow, bro. I need you to come on the camera, bro. Real talk. What you doing?
I just shaved my head, and look. Hey, hold on.
What that mean, bro? We all got the body. Remember, I take my hat off. We got the body crew.
Oh man, look here.
All right, so I'm gonna start with Veronica. Go ahead, Veronica. What's up, Veronica? From Texas.
Let me turn my camera on so I don't get blessed to hear it a second. I'm not bald, y'all.
I know, you got all that hair.
I got plenty of hair. But I just want to introduce myself. My name is Veronica Garcia, and I'm a newer member of the Rainbow Coalition as well. And I'm also the state chair for Texas with the Partido de la Raza Unida. I'm sitting in my car right now. I have the kids at the park, but kind of multitasking, getting the last things done for the getting prepared for the week. But since we started off talking about the Rainbow Coalition, I just wanted to also just remind everybody that we are about to jump on to our next study group. We're currently reading My People Are Rising by Aaron Dixon. And so I believe that's already been shared in the chat, but Alyssa, maybe we can share it again.
All power, all power.
All power. Hey, Veronica.
Yes, hello everyone. Thank you all for inviting me to this space. It's such a beautiful thing to see, feel, and just know that, you know, the bullshit that the media feeds is a whole bunch of propaganda. There's more unity, you know, but we definitely need to keep on our studies so that when we're dealing with the stuff that we know is going to come, the attacks are going to keep coming. You know, I'm here in Texas right now. We have shit going down where they're trying to you know, this isn't the first time that they do this, but they're encouraging the slaughtering of our people that are, you know, at the border by, you know, common civilians. Anybody can just, you know, blast away, you know, and so our babies are still behind cages. There's a lot of work to do, but, you know, I'm very encouraged to and honored to be here on this platform with you all.
Before you
all
go,
power to the people. Yes, sir.
No, I got it.
Oh, she got it. It's in the chat. Hey, Veronica, if you have any videos, any information, yo, we can fit it into the class. Whenever you have anything you want to talk about, you bring it right here. We're going to talk about it, try to get the information out.
I appreciate that, brother. I really do.
All power, comrade.
Monday, I'm correct.
What you got for me, Gabe? You there, Gabe?
Sorry, yes, I'm here.
You good, Gabe?
Look at me a little bit. I'm also unfortunately not bald. But yeah, I just want to comment on what y'all were saying about Puerto Rico, especially the part about the coast slowly being engulfed by water. It's just kind of terrifying, you know. Just realizing that there are entire nations at risk of just completely disappearing from the face of the planet just because a few couple people want to make a little more money in their pockets. In fact, I don't know if y'all know this, but there is this specific island country called Tuvalu. I believe it's what's called. I don't know if y'all know the island. They made a video on YouTube 4 months ago. You can search it up. But basically, their island in a couple of years is going to be completely submerged underwater. And so to preserve their culture of the island, to preserve the island, they're literally making the island digital online for anyone to come and visit. And that's just wild to me. Like the fact they're making their whole country a digital space online, just because of this capitalist imperialist bullshit that's happening. It's just
I,
it's just
I
fucking
apologize
depressing.
I apologize to interject. I just wanted to know what was the island called again?
Island Tuvalu. Tuvalu, I believe. Tuvalu. I
Got it.
believe that's what it's called. Maybe if you guys want, you can stream screen share the video on here. It's only a minute long, but yeah, it's just depressing, and it's just completely disgusting. But and it's especially worrying because I'm from Cuba, and it's just worrying knowing that if shit does not change soon, my country is going to be completely submerged underwater because of this capitalist imperialist white supremacist bullshit. And yeah, that's all I really want to say.
All power, comrade.
All power.
Yeah, man. Look, now you got me interested. When I get off here, I'm gonna go look it up and see what we could. I don't know. See what we could do, man. See if we could reach out. But that's crazy. That's crazy. I mean, we'll just sit here and just watch a whole island go under. And they don't want to do nothing about global warming. It's crazy. But that's why we do what we do. That's why we have this political education classes, because nobody else is going to do it. I mean, I remember when I used to be thinking, I used to be like, damn, if there's bad guys, there got to be some good guys somewhere. There got to be some revolutionaries fighting somewhere. I mean, so it's like, you got to do it yourself. You can't wait.
Damn straight.
Yeah, you got to
I've said before, and I'll say it again. Being a communist means being a decent human being. So if you're already a decent human being, you're halfway to being a communist.
All power to the people.
Hell yeah.
All power.
Yeah,
all power.
I saw Tristan. You got something, Tris?
Yeah, mainly in consolation to the whole climate crisis thing. Even if we can't just know that even if we can't reverse climate change, we still have that chance to survive it through community effort.
Yes. All power. Nah, seriously, that's
all power.
That's our only hope. Our only hope is working together. Our only hope.
I would say more, but I'm exhausted right now.
Nah, that's okay, Tristan. That's okay, Tristan.
I feel you, Tristan. Don't worry.
Yeah. Our only hope is working together, building this into communities where we can be able to talk to each other and organize with each other to understand what we need. Look, I'm still messed up about the gentrification in PR. I'm really still messed up around that. But they're doing the same thing in Africa. You got Black people here that's going back to Africa trying to gentrify Africa. It's just some weirdos, man. These people are weirdos. They've been. That's why we talk about building our own institution to produce our own human beings that think like us. Because if you send your children to these schools, they're gonna become capitalists, man, and just see everything from a capitalistic perspective. I was having a debate on people on social media on Facebook, and they were talking about how the new owner of the Washington Redskins, how that's a great achievement. Achievement for who? What are you talking about? But it's people can't see past their own selfish, greedy ways. They don't care about the people. They don't care about nobody else because they've been socialized to be capitalists. So that's all they want to do. That's all they care about. Go ahead, Nick. My bad. I didn't see your hand, Nick. Go ahead, Nick.
No, I just threw it back. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we hear you, Nick.
Okay. I just threw it up, but I want to say, yeah, it's funny. When they was talking about the Puerto Rico situation, I remember seeing some TikToks, and there's some activists there that was already talking about it, especially with the what is it? One of the Paul boys. Was able to get some tax exemptions on that or something to be able to get the property that he had there because they are gentrifying it. And then one of the activists was also talking about how they have, I guess they privatized the beaches or whatever. But and I remember remembering that, listening to the two comrades that talked about it, their trip to Puerto Rico. But also I was going to say, it's what you just said, the gentrification of Africa when people say stuff is weird, I don't say it's weird. I don't really, take it as weird anymore because it's it's not, it's because to be weird, it must mean it's something that wasn't a part of the system in the first place. Because these are not bugs, these are features of the system.
Wow.
So even when Black people were, when the whole thing when we were going to Liberia, when they proposed for us to go to Liberia, and I'm going to air quote this if I can get on camera. Well, apparently I'm not getting on camera today. But anyways, if I can air quote this, when we were supposed to go to Liberia, what do you think the slaves that, went to Liberia did? They colonized the natives that was in Liberia already. So it was only, you do what you know. And Du Bois speaks about this through double consciousness. We see ourselves through, throughout, unfortunately, through white supremacy and white patriarchy.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's not new. It's not new. It's nothing new. It's
Hey, Nick.
just the system doing what it's supposed to do.
Hey, Nick, you from
Yes.
Liberia?
No, I'm from Mississippi.
All power. No.
And it's the same thing that's going on in Mississippi.
Yes, it is. With that,
I have a question.
It's the same thing that's going.
Who has a question?
Me.
Who's that? Me? Who's me? Gabe?
Yep.
Go ahead, Gabe.
I just wanted to ask, isn't that literally how comprador classes are created? Through literally brainwashing them and sending them back to uphold the interests of the oppressor? Isn't that literally how comprador classes are created?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And Nick, and while you was talking, Nick, my mother's from Liberia. And when I did the history of Liberia and I found all that out, and then I found out like who my ancestors were and what their role were in that, because this is funny.
They were from Mississippi.
No. Somebody just said that's what I was about to say. Nick just said he's from Mississippi. That's where my ancestors came from, Mississippi. They came from Mississippi and they migrated to Liberia during that movement. And they were part of the people that went down there and colonized the indigenous people of that land. So it's like it's deep when you look into all of that and you start to recognize like who you are, your ancestors, what role they played, and then you try to change it. Because like if you don't know, you're not going to be able to change it or do anything different. But like everything you said, that's exactly what they're doing to all these different islands. But for some reason, it never just hit me about Puerto Rico like that. They were going to be gentrifying Puerto Rico. I mean, like it's deep.
It's the same playbook. America never changes this playbook, and that's the problem. We see the problem. Like they say, history doomed to repeat itself. No, it's just that nobody ever learns it.
Oh,
we see what goes on. Literally,
power.
It's the same playbook from. I mean, people like to say we're alarmists, but we're not. If you look, what year are we in? The 20s, in the 21st century. What happened in the 20s 100 years ago in a certain little country that they call the fatherland? What's going on now? They legally did everything. They did everything through the law first. And then they started to do the actual actions.
Oh, wow.
So we're only, about a few years from the 30s before stuff really started happening. But now it's everything compounded on itself, because history is not just a series of events and linear, it's a series of events that go all at once. So, what happened in Germany in the 20s and 30s is happening here because they took, and then they got their playbook from us from when we did Manifest Destiny. Because Lebensraum is Manifest Destiny.
Yep.
So it's the same thing. The difference is, besides when we are in time,
Hear that.
the difference is about the media access that we have, and the whole thing about what everybody's been talking about, not the TikTok ban, but the other one, the bigger act that's gonna, be able to limit all information. That's the same book they use for World War I. That's why Debs was put in jail for speaking out against World War I.
Eugene Debs, right?
All power.
Yes.
Power.
So it's very imperative that people understand the history along with the material analysis that go along with the history, as well as then being able to take action. Yes, we're gonna fuck up because everybody fucks up. We're not perfect, but we then put into action, and then where we mess up, we try to clean that up as best as possible.
Oh, power. Oh,
So
wow.
yes, though we do talk about all this stuff, we have to put forth solutions, and these are the solutions in the 10-point program and everybody else's their programs and stuff like that. And yes, you're absolutely right. We cannot be afraid of the law because it is what it is. I live in, like I said, I live in the real Texas now. I'm a black. I grew up in the Mississippi Delta. My grandfather, one of his brothers was killed by the Klansmen. You know what my grandfather did? It's a funny reason why you always hear about your grandfather go up north. They retaliated, and he had to go up north and hide out in Chicago for a little while, and then come back. But that's just in itself, the history in itself, what you have to do. It is what it is.
Wow.
And I'm not saying we go out there and actually do illegal actions or nothing. But what I'm saying is we have to protect ourselves. For when the time comes, when they get done with the legal fascism, when they start doing the actual put into action, boots on the ground and you're literally on your neck fascism.
All power. Hey, Owens, you got
All
some?
power, all power.
You got some, Owens? Was that Murden Owen? How you say the first name?
I usually just go by Marty, but it's Meriden. Meriden,
Okay.
like Martin.
What do you want me to call? What do you want me to call you?
Marty would probably be.
All right, Marty, talk to me, Marty. Talk to me, Marty.
Kind of new here, glad to be here. But I just wanted to kind of piggyback on the history and the tiers of colonization and consciousness. With like the term WASP, like white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, like the Anglo-Saxons going back to England, a pattern of oppression, you could say. The P added to include the Scots, like the lowland Scottish people who were ethnically the same as the Irish, but the Irish were still Catholic. They divided them up that way, and then they pay off the P part of the WASP to go and colonize America. And I think it's the majority of U.S. presidents have been of Scottish descent, like 33 or 34 out of the 46, and there's only been 3 of Irish descent, and those are ethnically the same people. So it's it goes way back, like really deep. Like even the Roman times. Like if you look at like the Irish language, there's parallels with like West Africa, like Senegal or Togo and Mali, all have kind of parallel phonetically alignments with the Irish language. And so there's a lot of history to be uncovered and untwisted that they're definitely afraid of us uncovering
All
or
power.
untwisting.
All power, Marty. Tom, you got
All
something?
power to the people.
Yeah, I just wanted to emphasize that it's the base that determines the superstructure of society. That there's going to be racism even if there isn't people of different color. And when I was in England, there's racism against the Irish, there's racism against the Scottish, there's racism against the Welsh, and you can't tell one from the other except by their last name. You know? Capitalism creates its own society, its own superstructure based on the exploitation that's inherited in the base. That's why we have to be all the way revolutionary. We have to change the very basis of society so that we can eliminate these problems like racism, sexism, homophobia, whatever. You can't do that and still have an exploitative base. That's what I wanted to say.
All power, all power,
All power, all power.
Hey, look, man, like I said, this is the best part of my week right here. Me having to go over the lecture, and then we having this lecture, I get to speak to courageous superheroes like you people sitting right here. You comrades sitting right here. This is the best part of the week. This is like the most intelligent conversations I have all week. Yo, it's my pleasure to be here. We're gonna be done soon. Let me see. Let me see the email. Patience, your email on here? Next, all right. Hey, that's the General Secretary's email right there. Look, we're almost done. At the end of these classes, we're gonna give a test for anybody that want to be a part of the UP. What is it? What? No. What is it again? What is it called? Hey, Shaka, that anyone that want to be what member?
Panthers in training.
Panthers in training. Yeah, so like after we have all these weeks, After we go through these weeks, we're going to have a test. Yo, the test is not a got you test. The test is basically just for you to understand the purpose of what Pantherism is, the survival programs, who our enemy is, that it's not race, gender, any of that crap, that our enemy is imperialism, like the people that have already died for us to be here, like little basic things like that. We're not gonna try to make this test all hard that you don't know, like you gotta be cramming. No, it's basic stuff that you should know after going through this 10 weeks of class. It is conversation that we had, everything that we talked about here. But yeah, but they go to email, send your address. Because once you graduate, once you take the test and graduate, we're going to send you your certificate. And we want you to have your certificate before we do the graduation class. Because it's going to be a big class. Like I'm going to say what the chairman be saying. It's going to be a big event. We're going to have some elders here. That's going to
all power.
All power. We're going to have some guests here, some big time guests. And we want you to have your certificate before we do the graduation. So you can hold it up in the video, because like it doesn't matter where we at. We're always together. I said all power to the people.
All power to the people.
All power to the people.
I live
All
for
power to the people.
All power
I
to the
live
people.
for the people.
All
I
power to
die
the
for
people.
the people.
All power to the
I
people.
die for the people.
Yo, see y'all next week, y'all.
All power to the people, comrades.
I have a question.
Oh, everybody hold up. Who got a question?
I have a question. So for the test, would we have to because I was only able to unfortunately come on week 8 and today week 10 of PE. So do I have to like?
Yeah, no, you'll be in the next class. You'll be in the next class.
Okay, because I was wondering.
Comrade Gabe, yeah,
wondering
you'll be the next class.
For the next test, do I have to like would I have to like look back at the previous classes in order to answer the questions or no?
Yeah.
The chairman said you have to take the next class. But I'm gonna talk to the chairman and see if we can get you the information. See if you like we're gonna work. Let's see if we can work something out. I'm gonna answer you next class. You're gonna be here next class, right, Gabe?
Mm-hmm. Which is tomorrow, right?
No. The next class is not tomorrow. Next Sunday.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, but I got you. But I'm gonna talk to the chairman and see if we could get you that 8 weeks so you could catch up, or you could just take the next class because we're doing it all over here. Yeah, we're doing it all over. But
oh yeah.
All right, so that's it for this week. All power.
All power to the people.
Comrades.
All power to the
Good
people.
class. Good class.
Y'all are wonderful. Y'all are wonderful. You guys are beautiful.
All power to the people. No doubt. You too, comrade.
All power to the people.
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 Salute to the chairman.